Okay. Good morning. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Easthampton Commission on Disability for September, what day is this? 3rd, 2019. I know that we're going to go out of order here because Angelique has to leave. So Jamie has asked us to vote about this letter that's going to be sent planning for the planning grant application.
I don't need.
There,
No, okay.
I'm happy with the content of the letter. I only have one suggestion for her because she uses the word related twice in the same sentence.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So aside from that, I'm perfectly fine with this. This is not in any way an endorsement of anything other than them putting in the application for the grant. And since it's for a planning grant, there's really no reason for us to not endorse the application. The application is just the city requesting money to hire a consultant to help us figure out how best to make the city more accessible.
Do we not have enough of these?
The letters?
Yeah, I don't have.
I didn't give anybody the letter.
Yeah, he
I sent it
emailed
out
it
in the
and I
email for you to read.
I know, I saw it.
Did,
It looked
I have
perfect.
one copy of it here
No,
if you
I
want
was
to read it
borrowing
again.
hers. Just to...
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Okay.
So,
So,
oh, go ahead.
no,
Oh,
So, are there any questions?
oh, yeah, I had a question,
Okay.
which is, I was kind of confused because there was an address, like a Boston address on it, and so I was wondering, like, what did they have to do with it?
That's right, you weren't here when
This
Jamie
letter
explained.
is going to be included with the application for the grant.
Oh, okay,
I'm sure that the mayor is sending a similar letter saying that she approves or endorses the request for this grant. It's just kind of a formality.
right.
If the city applies for a grant for the Commission on Disability to do their work, but the city's commission doesn't endorse the application, you know, I don't know that it's a requirement, it's just something that helps it go along.
Oh, so this is something that we're sending to the state, right?
This,
Saying like.
this will be part of the grant application.
Oh,
It may
okay.
be a requirement, I don't
Right.
know.
Okay,
It may be one of the things that they're required to do.
So
But
what-
certainly, it's a good thing to do, whether it's required or not.
gotcha.
So what could go there? Like, would it? And the second related, could it say like in regards to?
Yeah,
or-
Jamie can find another word, you know, just
Okay.
use a thesaurus, pick something
Yeah,
different.
my favorite
you know.
Highlight it and click him.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
So can I get a motion to
I make a motion
do,
to approve this letter.
can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So I will let Jamie know that we approve the letter, except maybe you can change the second related to something else. Okay. Then should we jump right into the community survey? You have a page, starts with number 11. Basically, what I did was take question number 11 and
Okay.
Yeah.
looked at number 1 and 2 of the proposed things that Jeff wanted to see. And so Lita and I bashed our heads into the wall a few times and decided that the only way to fix number 11 was to make an 11A and an 11B.
Right.
And so that's what that's about. It not only lets us know what kind of environment, home environment they have, apartment, house, whatever, but it then simply allows them to clarify what kinds of things, you know, does it meet your expectations or needs? And it also lets us find out if they are required to perform any outdoor maintenance.
Yeah.
That, you know, I just think that's good information to have.
Yeah, this is sort of double-edged also, because like, in our situation, you know, we have to deal with mowing the lawn and plowing the driveway, and it's a Habitat home, so it's a low-income, affordable home program. And so we can't afford to have landscapers come in. And none of us are capable of getting out there and mowing and plowing, and we try. But it's kind of embarrassing too, because then your yard looks like hell. Everybody thinks you're hillbillies, you know? Oh, look at those two, they never mow their yard, you know? So then I got to wondering, how many more people are there out there that are responsible for their own yard work, and do they need help? And as you recall, we tried to go through the Easthampton neighbors that the Council on Aging is putting together, and we wanted to include disabled people, but they decided just to go with over 55 or something for now. Anyway.
So would that question say, is it a yes or no, or do you wanna do like, if yes, explain?
Yeah, it'll just be a yes or
Okay,
no
okay.
answer.
Well, but that just tells us they're responsible. It doesn't mean that they're actually able to do it.
Right.
Is that what we're looking for? We want to know
Okay.
what
Yeah, I
people
wonder,
need?
I can say
You
that.
know,
could we add something saying, are you able to
There's a
maintain
second
this
part of the-
yourself?
Part of the question
I don't,
in another box.
I guess we could add that in there.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are out there that need this help. You know?
Because I could be responsible, but not able to do, well, like you,
Well-
you're responsible for
Okay.
your yard, but you're not able to do it.
Well, but some people live in places where they are not responsible
Right,
for
yeah,
doing the outdoor
exactly.
maintenance.
So
So,
if yes.
Okay, so
Are you
on
able to do
11B, then just put down, are you responsible and capable of maintaining outdoor maintenance?
Any outdoor?
Or are you responsible for outdoor maintenance? If yes, are you capable of doing so? Please explain.
Yeah,
You know,
say that again.
are you responsible for outdoor maintenance? If yes, are you able to do what is required on your property?
I like the way you
Please
read it
explain.
though, any outdoor maintenance, are you responsible for any.
Or any?
Yeah, if we had sidewalks, we'd be in trouble.
You don't have a sidewalk that you have to plow
We
then.
don't have sidewalks at all, cause it's East Street.
Yeah.
Oh, you live on East?
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts? That's
Right in the, smack in the
Almost-
middle near Ferry.
Yep, almost.
Okay, that white house that I see when I'm walking down now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A big fence,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the other
I
side.
never walk all the way down there, but I see it from the distance,
Go high.
okay.
from half a mile.
Number 18 is the kind of consolidation of Jeff's items, number 3 through 9.
And how do you feel about,
Hmm?
and the how do you feel about questions,
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you feel about it?
yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5. See, the question in the survey was how accessible are the following?
No, the question was, how do you feel about the following? Like, you know, which.
Okay, I'm comparing what you submitted
Yeah.
to the question in the
Yeah.
survey, number 18.
The original was.
The
how-
original question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how accessible are the following?
Okay.
Now, I'm not married to the question, I just want us all to be on the same page. We can change the question.
Yeah,
What my intent was to consolidate all of the things that you listed,
yeah. Yeah,
as well as the things that were already under question 18.
yeah.
My problem with having statements such as work, school is accessible
Yeah,
we don't know if the
Yeah.
person is talking about work or school.
That's true. That's true.
So what I did was break it down, you know,
Right.
so that each place you get a chance to answer for each place. I don't know why college should be there, college is school, but what the hell.
Yeah. I think, I would
So
get rid of the college.
we could get rid of one of those. Social venues, clubs, pubs, restaurants, theaters, public events.
Should we change like words like pubs and pavements to something less British?
Yes, good call.
Okay, so pubs becomes what, bars?
Yeah.
Yeah. And pavements would be sidewalk.
Breweries.
Oh, we have.
Roads and pavements.
Those are driveways.
Those are driving surfaces.
Driveways, right? Yeah.
I thought pavement meant sidewalk.
I would have thought so too, but it
Yeah.
says
But it doesn't.
sidewalks below it, hence
Right.
less
Yeah.
British.
Okay.
Well, we could just eliminate
Roads
pavement.
Yeah.
It means
Just have
driveways.
roads, because we have
Driveways.
sidewalks.
Yeah. Driveways, parking lots.
Drive-
would be-
Okay,
So have driveways parking.
there are a few on the back also. Can we think of anything else to add to this list?
We don't have anything about retail and stores.
Stores, markets,
Stores,
shops.
markets, shops.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, it's right there, sorry. Sorry, it was the last one, I was just scanning and I missed it.
No problem. Okay.
Is there a space somewhere, a related space that someone, if they chose to rant about a particular area, could?
Yeah, there can certainly be, you know, other,
While
Yeah.
they're thinking about, you know, just a comment box for this section would probably be
Yeah.
helpful.
yeah, we can
Yeah,
add
I
that.
agree.
And this is really nitpicky, but we've got with, with one being completely accessible, I would change that to the number one, because you're using the number 5.
That's-
Yeah.
Where are we?
Right.
That's
Yep,
true.
On
it says
18.
18.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Actually, I would switch it around. I would make 5 be completely accessible. And 1 being not at all.
any
accessible.
particular reason?
Because
Pe-
it's
pe-
just more counterintuitive to put the positive thing at the.
Yeah, if you rate something on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is always the best.
Oh,
Okay.
I see
Yeah.
that logic, yeah.
No?
okay.
That's only in Baywatch kind of bathing suits.
Well, where do you think everybody's mind is?
Because when Baywatch came out, they all kept talking about how, what's her name, was that number 10?
Pamela
How did
Anderson.
Baywatch get into the conversation?
Yeah.
Alita over there.
Exactly.
Shouldn't it be a
Like
part of
normal
any
man-
conversation? There's David Hasselhoff, come
Fertile
on.
man.
Fertile, yep.
You're on top of it
Oh,
today.
I know, I'm awake, you know?
So I
It's a
have a
good word,
question.
fertile imagination.
Okay, Jeff, this doesn't quite follow your choice of, words as to strongly agree, somewhat agree,
Yeah.
somewhat disagree, strongly disagree. I don't know.
It's, I mean,
I
you
think,
know, you know, in the interest, yeah, whatever,
okay, I think your words, that wording was good for the question that you asked.
yeah, yeah, because it was a list of statements, so.
So.
Is
it
the whole rest of the survey in that same format? Where we start with the most accessible?
Right.
Because we don't want to change
I
that.
don't
we
know,
want-
but
we
we,
want to universal
when
format, probably.
when we're putting it together
We'll
and
double check
entering
that.
the information,
I don't think it matters, as long as it's one way or the other.
before any of this goes to whoever's going to actually enter it, it definitely has to be rewritten.
Oh, yeah.
And
Edited.
during that I mean, when I was reading the original, I recognized that they used different scales
Yeah.
on one part than they did on another part, and the
Yeah,
wording
that's what
of
we
it.
don't wanna do.
And I thought it would have been better if it was all under the same kind of format myself.
Question?
Hmm.
So I wasn't here last month, was there more discussion about the invisible disability thing?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to introduce these changes to those two particular areas. There are still many things on Jeff's list that hopefully we can get incorporated.
Yeah, I feel like somehow the talking about your experience, people's experiences if they have a problem should be a part of it somehow,
Right.
because.
Okay, so are we happy with 5 and 18 at this point?
All those in favor, say aye.
You mean 11 and 18?
11 and 18,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Aye,
Okay.
Aye.
aye.
So,
Anybody else in favor?
Are we good?
What?
All
Yes.
those-
On 11 and 18.
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Is anybody not in favor?
I'm not a voting member yet, I should work on
Either,
it.
either am I.
Okay,
all right, so,
so it's passed.
Smoke
that's
signal.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so, where, Eli, what number was that? Oh, okay, number 6.
That sounds familiar.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. How would you describe your disability? Check as many as apply to you. So we're happy with all of those, and our problem with number 6 is,
I just think the invisible disability is not really the same category as the other options, and it should be in a separate question.
It's in a category in that it's how people identify as disabled. I mean, if their disability is that they're sensitive to electromagnetic fields, it really doesn't, it really doesn't qualify
Is that a real
as-
thing?
In Europe it
Basically,
is.
they said
In
that.
Europe it is, and on Better Call Saul it is. And, there's no,
Scientific basis for it, though.
Yep.
but it is disabling if, people wouldn't identify it as psychological, they wouldn't identify it as physical, you know.
Well, then
yeah.
just put other at the end, and
Invisible slash other.
you just put
you
down
know?
other.
So, that would be an invisible disability though, you know?
Right, but so all of the other options are about like what the things that the nature of what you are unable to do or whatever. This one is about how other people react to you, and that I think it's confusing to put those together.
well,
Do we want to?
then mental health or emotional disability and sensory disability should be removed from that also.
Why?
You can tell that
For the
people
same
have mental
reasons.
disabilities sometimes.
They're basically hidden disabilities.
Yeah, they
Not
are.
necessarily.
Well, but-
Unless somebody is acting out, you don't know if they're emotionally or
Yeah.
mentally unbalanced.
Yep.
But aren't we talking about accessibility here? How does accessibility, if you have an emotional disability,
If you're triggered by a lot of loud behavior or whatever, or loud noises, and City Hall for whatever reason is really loud and you can't come in, that's an emotional disability that makes something
Yeah.
inaccessible.
yeah.
Right.
And we're
but isn't
also,
that physical though? I mean, it's a brain issue.
People would consider it emotional.
well, you
So
gotta realize.
my point is that, my point is that all of the other options are about the nature of the disability.
Yeah.
Invisible is about how other people perceive you.
I hear what you're saying.
So it's not.
So,
yeah.
my only
So-
comment was about using that logic, should we not take mental health or emotional disability and sensory disability out of that listing and include it with unseen, I don't know, do a 6A or a number 7?
Well, no, because those are about the nature of your disability. They're not about
Right.
how other people perceive you.
I have
agree with you.
I have a suggestion for a compromise. Can we switch invisible to other and then have a sub-question? Do you consider your disability to be hidden or invisible?
Okay.
Well, for,
I
can
don't
say
think it's
something?
for the sake of compromise, I think it would be useful for this.
Well, first of all, we're probably not gonna get a chance to do another survey for a long time, because they cost money, okay? And we're trying to find out as much as we can about our disabled, community members regardless, it's not just physical access to buildings, but other needs they might have, okay? Like if somebody has PTSD, you're not gonna wanna put an event right next to, you know, say a soldier. You're not gonna wanna put an event right next to the gun range, you know? And that's something to be taken into account, you know? So we're just trying to get as much as we can, not strictly because of accessibility to buildings and whatever. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, but I mean, is that, if that is part of this, what the survey is trying to determine, then, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to determine
All kinds, all needs for,
a lot.
As much as
A
we
lot of
can.
them. Because, you know, we got into back and forth about like wanting to know about accessibility to school and work, to schools and work. And
Okay.
most people don't go to college in Easthampton.
It's true.
You
because
know?
there
We
isn't a
can't do anything
college.
about it.
The opening statement for the survey is that the survey is being conducted by the City of Easthampton Commission on Disability. It aims to capture a detailed picture of service needs among people with all disabilities who
Yeah.
live in and visit Easthampton.
Service needs, you said.
Mhm. Like if we had, say, a lot of people that were blind, like one of our intersections got that little beepy thing that the lights do,
Mhm.
so that they know when the light is red or not.
Mhm.
You know, and then we might push for more of those little beepy things, if we had a lot of blind people.
It's a bird chirping, that's what I,
Chirping?
that,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
it sounds like a bird chirping to me.
Yeah, I've heard it. you know.
Northampton's the beep boop.
The people.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I actually agree with Eli. I get what you're saying, but he's actually talking about, it's like in addition to, like, yeah, it's invisible, but can we do
Yeah.
it, which number is it? Can we just do an A or second?
Breaking into categories.
No,
No,
just
just
the.
take
like a-
invisible out and then have another question that says, do you have an invisible disability? Or or something like that.
Okay,
do you
I
have?
hear what
any-
you're saying,
Just-
but in doing that, do we want to put mental health, emotional disability, or sensory disability in that same category as unseen or invisible disabilities? Because they in
no.
fact are.
Yeah.
Well, they could be, but they might
Right.
not be.
Right, so just
Yeah,
because they
something.
checked, mental health, emotional disability doesn't mean that it's invisible. It's just getting more information. You feel like it's a trade-off, like if we're gonna take that out, we gotta take the ones that
Mm.
identifies that
I think
out.
we ought to leave it alone.
And just have it as it is with unseen or invisible. I'm not sure I like the term invisible, actually. How about hidden? Is that more?
Yeah, that's
more-
I like
The
that.
lingo
appropriate
over
term.
the internet and everything it is called invisible.
They are
It is,
going with
it is.
invisible?
Yeah.
That's,
All the cool kids are
Hmm.
saying.
All the kids.
Oh, well, we want to be cool, yeah.
okay. So we're in favor of leaving it as it is?
All those in favor
Not
say aye.
really.
Not really, okay.
I'm
All those
sorry.
not in
So
favor.
we're wanting to go with unseen and invisible as a separate Question?
That's
Can
my,
it just be a 6A? Or
I'm sorry?
can it be 6A or whatever? Instead of making it 7, can it just
Okay.
be
6A would be
6A?
the invisible ones and 6B would be the physical ones.
What are,
No,
Because
no,
it's-
I'm talking about
what
the
are the-
separate
It's
question.
still a description, so it's logical to
And
make it
then-
in 6, except make it 6.
We also have, if you use an alternative term, please describe here. So that's also going to be an option for that question.
Eli, you're
Hmm?
trying to stay quiet over there.
Yeah, you started.
I just
it.
don't know what else to say, like,
Right.
Well, why can't
I
we make it
feel like I'm-
6B?
like
Saying
I'm
it over
expressing
and over.
myself well, but it's not.
I
I'm
think you
not-
are too, Eli, don't get frustrated. So we'll go with 6A and that have 6A just as unseen or invisible disability?
Does that make
And
sense, Eli?
6B would be unseen.
Would be the,
invisible.
would be the,
Pardon?
6B, the second option should be hidden or invisible, because they could, so someone could check one and then qualify it as invisible.
Okay, sensory disability, is that considered physical?
Autism, it could be.
Could be. Some of them.
Oh, I was
Well,
thinking,
they
I was
yeah,
thinking
that's
more
true.
like sight and sound. and-
Well, sometimes it's, clothing or, something that
Mhm.
touches their body,
Right.
although I don't know what,
A lot of these
We
go
would-
under different.
yeah, so any nature of disability could be seen or unseen depending on the
It's
details.
true.
Mhm.
It's true.
Right.
It's true, yeah. I mean, I have cerebral palsy, which is essentially a physical disability, but I totally pass, so it's
Right.
essentially, well, I don't totally pass, but,
Yeah.
I do
What-
with most
Right,
scenarios.
and I'm blind, but most people don't
Yeah.
know that I'm blind, yeah.
That's interesting.
So how do you think it should be if you could,
I think it should be, we should have a question like what we already have,
yep,
but without invisible as an
Right.
option.
So
And then we
wait,
should have,
you just want the word invisible removed?
no, I want the option.
the option.
So you want unseen or invisible disability, i.e. PTSD, chronic pain.
No, that'd be a, wait, can I see what this says?
At some point, a few meetings ago, people sort of agreed to have those little definitions next to it. Examples next to it.
mental health, physical, sensory, unseen. Yeah, so I would take out unseen.
Yeah.
And then I would have another question that says, that is about like whether you have an unseen disability or invisible or whatever.
But instead of, what I was asking, instead of having it be number 7, can it be 6A or 6B or whatever?
Yeah, it can be
Sure.
whatever
Within the
we
same.
want.
Yeah, that.
Right,
and
Yeah.
it should be
but I'm just
6.
asking how he envisioned it so we understand
Oh,
what he.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no, if you wanna do, like, group it group the two questions together as 6A and 6B, yeah, that's
Okay,
fine, I just don't want it like the options mixed together.
right. Actually,
Right.
So 6B would be the unseen disability,
invisible. yeah.
Correct.
or invisible?
Invisible, like that's
That's
the,
what we're using, invisible.
that's what's out there, yep.
Okay. And then they also have, if you use an alternative term, that would be in 6B.
I'm sorry?
If you use an alternative term, that would be in 6B as well.
Right.
Describe, the space for the person to describe what they think, what alternative term they use for their own disability.
So
No,
is-
you're not, that's what he's described, but that's not what Eli and I are saying.
So you want 6B to be physical disabilities?
6B is supposed to be, do you consider your illness
Okay.
invisible, right?
Disability.
The question, 6B.
Yeah, I got 6B written there.
Okay, so.
Okay, number
Right,
5
but they're
is,
not
do you
supposed to
consider
be
yourself
groups.
to have a disability?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? If yes, how would you describe your disability? Please check as many as apply to you.
Right, so 6A in my proposal is about the nature of your disability. And 6B is about how other people perceive your disability. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It does to me. What they're not quite getting it. They're trying to still group those ones together. Right?
We were close to
Yeah.
changing it.
That's not, that's not,
So for a person who has chronic pain, they would answer number 6 as,
That'd be a sensory,
could be
Right.
sensory, could be physical.
Well, you know what?
Causes.
Right,
when my pain is so bad I can't move, it's physical.
right,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
right.
When I'm in pain and I'm not making boo-boo faces and whining about it, it's unseen.
Right.
Right.
Faces.
So, that's,
I think you could go into pages and pages of clarifying the description. And we don't really need it to that extent. We just need to know, do you have a physical disability that we can do something about? Or do you have an invisible disability? Which we might be able to do something about, but we don't really have to get into super specifics.
But it's not one or the other. Like any type of disability can be invisible or not, or visible.
right.
That's true.
Do you wanna just show him what you have here so that he understands
Well,
what you,
Jeff,
cause I don't think he's
you
I'm not
understanding.
done
just
with
said
this.
you have cerebral palsy,
Yeah,
Oh, you
but
would show it
it's,
to Eli?
it's not
Yeah.
generally
I
visible.
don't,
Yeah.
it's not.
So how would you describe yourself if you were answering
I
this?
would probably say physical cerebral palsy, but, you know,
But you wouldn't
Because it is
say
a-
invisible, would you?
I
just say that?
wouldn't, I'd never, you know, there's a diagnosis that's commonly grouped with physical. I mean, if you wanna, you know, but on the other hand, when people have conversations about the hidden disabled, and, you know, I can relate to it, you know?
Well, what I'm thinking is, you would say you've got cerebral palsy. I would say, if you have a disability, it's invisible to me.
Yeah,
So, what do we ask, what do we want to know?
I don't know, I mean,
So-
it's,
Invisible illnesses, it's like a capitalized, not a lower, like invisible illnesses is like a whole thing out there. It's,
Right. So
right,
if you-
that's why he wants it in a different category.
Yeah, so like the cerebral palsy, you could say the nature of it is physical,
yeah,
right? And also it has this in your case, it has this property of not being visible.
yeah.
But in other people's, in
In
the
fact,
case of
a lot
other
of
people, it
people
is
would
visible.
have both.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
my,
Definitely.
you know, my
Okay.
perception would be different from your actuality.
Yeah.
Is that what we want? That's what I'm asking. Do we want,
I feel like we wanna catch people in the survey in the terms they want to identify with. It's not just about what umbrella it could theoretically fall under, it's about, you know, what people identify as.
Can I read
So-
this little thing on the, it says, the term invisible illness refers to any medical condition that's not outwardly visible. But then it gives the examples, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, autoimmune disorders, and even cancer, right? So in the case of cancer, it's what, you would say it's physical, you might say it's mental, but that's why invisible, because maybe you can see it, maybe you can't,
Right.
right?
Okay.
We could just say, just an open question, say, could you describe your, how would you describe your disability? And leave it at that, with a blank space.
Well,
It would be good, but some people don't have the capabilities, right? If they're limited, they need some choices.
what we have at the end of,
Limited.
yeah, I
I
think
just
you're
find
what
right.
we have at the end of question, well, 6B
It's like
now,
an other.
is if you use an alternative term, please describe here. And there's a box for them to put in whatever they want.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any problem with number 7?
Is it ready?
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have your copy of,
Oh,
I didn't-
sorry.
I can
didn't-
read
it
to
I
you.
didn't bring mine either.
Number 7 says, does your disability cause you to feel any of the following? Tick as many as apply. Lack of confidence,
Okay.
nervous, anxious, isolated and excluded, different from others. Other people won't respond positively, and then it's got a box for other.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too. All those in favor of that one, say aye.
I,
Aye.
okay, we don't, we don't need to take a vote on
Are
every
we down?
single
Okay,
one.
I'm sorry.
No, any problems with number 8?
Getting carried away here.
Letting power go to your head.
What is your current employment situation? Full-time employed, part-time employed, volunteering/interning, in full or part-time education or training, looking after home and family, full-time care provider, not working because of ill health or disability, retired, unemployed, self-employed, and then other.
yeah, that's cool.
Number 10, who do you live with? Check all that apply. Alone, partner, cared for person.
Yeah, that's confusing.
So that would perhaps indicate 2 people needing care, living in the same
Yeah,
environment?
No, it means I am a provider.
Cared
Yeah.
for,
It would mean like I'm not disabled, but I live with a disabled person that I take care of.
Yeah, if we want to know that,
oh, I see, okay, I got it.
but it needs to be reworded because
Mm.
that's confusing. Again, the question is, who's answering this survey? Is it
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
It
As
could
a-
be either, I think, you
Yeah,
know.
but how do we distinguish?
Well, I mean, people that are answering for someone would answer from the person's perspective, because presumably the reason they're,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
presumably the reason they're, if they could fill it out themselves, they would be.
Right, and most of it is aimed at the person with the disability, but in this case, do
Yeah,
you need to know, I mean, if I'm answering this survey
From
for
the
someone who can't do it
perspective
for themselves,
right, then that
Then-
wouldn't make sense.
then we don't need that cared for person.
Yeah.
why do you need
I
to know?
I get what you, I get what
Yeah,
you're
why do you
saying.
need to know that who I live with? You
Yeah.
need to know who the
Okay.
person
Yeah.
with the disability lives with.
Add roommates to 10, because, you know, there are some group homes in Easthampton,
that's
and they
true.
might not be friends, they might be, you know.
Yeah, a group
So-
home definitely should be there. Is that the proper
Putting
term?
group home?
Or roommates, I mean,
Well, like
roommates.
Vikings Landing. Vikings Landing has got people in it that are disabled, and there you have somebody that cooks for
You know-
everybody there.
It's not a,
The thing with Vikings Landing and Wright House and any number of other places here in town is that they are predominantly sober living facilities.
Oh.
And you need to be in recovery from substance abuse in order to get in them.
yeah.
They do take people with handicaps. I've seen a couple of guys in wheelchairs and walkers and stuff like that around Vikings Landing. A number of years ago, there was a woman with a walker who was at Wright House.
Do we have any group homes for?
Service,
We
service
do have
net
group homes.
rents, several
For,
houses for
So-
developmentally disabled.
autism or,
Maybe we should put in group home as a, you know,
Yeah, sure, sure. Roommates would also, you
Yeah.
know, I guess.
well, how about partner/roommate? No?
what goes before the slash?
Partner, we've already got
Partner.
partner.
Right.
Why would we put those together?
Well-
Friends/roommates, yeah.
Because it's, in my mind anyway, they're similar. Maybe that's old-fashioned.
Well, it depends. I
Living
mean,
with like a, you know, someone who you have no attachment to versus like living with a
He's got
partner.
a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, if you,
All right,
Room
so
for
we'll
rent.
put in group homes in number 10.
okay.
Instead of cared for person,
Pardon?
instead of cared for person.
Yeah. And then we have a thing for pets, service animals, and please describe the nature of your housing situation if you need to. Then what, well, we already went with number 11 is okay. What is your level of education? For 12, 13, if you live in Easthampton, which precinct are you in? 14, if you live outside Easthampton, where do you live? If you are in university accommodations, at which university or college are you studying? Is there any reason that we need this question?
We apparently have discussed this before because I have a question mark by it.
Yeah.
And it seems like we don't, since we don't have
Okay.
university
I-
or
What number is
higher.
this?
Yeah, I don't
Number
think
15.
we need that information.
Okay. So then, what we'll just keep the numbers as they are. Number 16, how do you feel about living in Easthampton? There's still some stuff from Jeff's questions that I want to intersperse in some of this. Especially the last questions, the open-ended ones that allow for a short essay to be put in. So, but those will go at the end. 18 we said was okay with the revisions. And number 19, do you think there's enough positive representation? I'm wondering if there,
Yeah, what's Easthampton Press?
Yeah, I had that question too.
Easthampton Media.
Yeah, it's Northampton or
Yeah, we can,
Yeah.
Boston,
Well,
I think.
yeah, I mean, we're,
Springfield's got one.
Cambridge has 10 times the amount of people in Easthampton, and like, you know, Cambridge has more students than Easthampton has people. So, I mean, that's like that.
Cambridge,
it's a di-
England?
Yeah, like where the
so
university
we'll
is.
get rid of the word Easthampton.
Yeah.
Do,
Um,
I have a question. Do we really expect to get a lot of information out of this? I mean, I'm sure most people are just
Out
not
of the
gonna say
question
yes.
itself?
Yeah.
I truly, you know, all that we might get is a whole lot of knows or don't knows, because
Yeah.
there isn't that much available.
So like this question doesn't seem very useful to me.
I agree. What could we do about it? I mean, I think you're right, there will be a lot of negatives and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we could ask
mean, there's-
something more specific about like what kind of representation they want, but, or we could just not ask it at all.
So are we in favor of getting rid of
No,
19?
I'm in favor of it,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So then, number 20, do you think there's enough information about events which can easily be accessed by disabled people?
Okay, again,
We don't know.
We discussed this before, and I have written, do you think that, and then crossed out, there is enough information about public events,
Do you think there is?
which can be easily, or which contain enough information on accessibility?
That's a good.
Yeah, 'cause
I like it.
Yeah, because we had talked about,
Okay,
you
wait a
know,
minute.
Trying to get people to state
Put
whether it's
information
accessible or
on-
not
on
when they
their-
post
Yeah.
their event. Because I went to one event, I had to climb up a trillion stairs.
Do you think information about public events contain enough information on accessibility?
Do you think there's enough information? All right. Do you think that there is enough information about events which can be easily accessed by disabled people?
Public events.
What if instead we say like, do you have trouble getting information about accessibility at public events?
That works.
So we've put in the word public. And you think it would be beneficial to change it to,
Substitute the word public for community. Public might only be sponsored by the town. Community events is just a vague thing, you know, Mill Pond Live isn't a town-sponsored event, it's a Valley Advocate-sponsored event, but
Yeah,
it's
public.
still,
But it's public.
Sure. But anyway,
okay.
I was saying, I think it would be better if it was about the person's experience and not like this, like abstract kind of idea of like, you know, or general, like how it is.
okay, so you think it should read, what?
Some, like, you know, do you?
Do you have
like,
trouble
Do
finding?
you have trouble getting information about accessibility at community events, or?
That's a great way, that's a great.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you know,
so-
the thing is, there's like, I personally will look through all the different events. I don't even, if I really, really, really wanna go to one, then I have to call up the place
Yeah.
and find out if they're accessible or not.
Yeah.
And, honestly, that's a pain in the butt. I don't always have the
Right.
time or the interest to do that.
Yeah,
I
or-
would really love to see standardized, that everybody that posts any kind of an event, that they automatically say, you know, is some little spot say accessible or not accessible?
Such a.
Okay,
Yeah, or here, this is better.
so,
Oh, this is better. You say, do you have trouble finding, you know, do you have trouble finding out whether community events are accessible? That would be more concise.
do you have difficulty finding information about public events which can be easily accessed by disabled people?
Okay,
Sure,
Does that work?
sure,
The word public is okay?
sure.
what, do we wanna change to community events? Cause that made sense to me.
What do we think?
No, I think
Community?
community is good. That,
I don't know, cause like if, there's a lot of events that are like music things, and that's not necessarily a community event. Like that one.
Okay, public/community.
Yeah, sure,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good, yep.
All right, number
Do
21.
we really wanna do a survey?
Which resources do you use? Check all that apply. Can anybody think of anything on that list or anything else that could go in that list?
We've got SNAP written in there, food.
now, again, this is something we did before. Do you have our Commission on Disability on the list?
No, but it's gonna go in now.
And we have,
Whoa,
we
Sorry.
crossed off a lot of things. Should
Sorry
we go over
about
the
this,
ones,
and
go over
didn't-
this list and make sure that the ones that are not appropriate are crossed
Okay.
off? Or, you know, maybe you read what you've got.
Will do.
Do you,
Count.
do you feel like PBTA / COA / ADA? Because PBTA is the main main bus line, usually people would think about it. ADA Transport Services may or may not be contracted by PVTA.
Okay, so we should add,
ADA.
ADA?
ADA is another form of,
okay,
yeah.
Could we clarify what ADA means?
Yeah,
in case-
because
yeah.
ADA means,
ADA transport would be if people can't take the big bus or, they get a private,
no, I mean, what do the initials ADA,
American with Disabilities Act.
Act, right, that's what I know, but is that a name for some
that,
service?
it's short, it's probably shorthand,
It-
yeah.
relates to any public carrier that can transport persons in wheelchairs or
Yeah.
walkers
Okay.
or,
Right, but I wouldn't know that just from the letters ADA. Could
Well,
we?
if you used it, I think you'd know.
Okay.
If you if it's,
Where
some
are we?
people might not
Okay,
be
how about-
PVTA.
21,
How
That's
about
what I
the
thought, I don't
wording
see where that fits in
goes
at all.
are you on the other side of the page?
Or-
PVTA/COA or ADA
Exercise.
Transportation Services?
Well, I don't
Yeah,
have,
or adaptive transportation services could also work if you think it's easier to understand than ADA.
Or
Yeah.
OTHER?
You do
ADA.
adaptive transportation.
Okay,
such as-
PVTA, COA, or other ADA transportation services?
Sure.
Sure.
Disability, wait.
no,
are you-
I'm confused here.
Pardon?
Are we working on 21?
Yes,
And it says, which resources do you use to find out about
Okay.
events? Do we change that? Because you wouldn't contact the bus company to find out about an event.
We crossed out community.
No,
Which
no.
resources?
This is his original copy that he's letting me borrow, so I'm having an easier time following here. It's already been edited, I think, though.
yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Except you've still got tick in there.
Pardon?
You're
Why would
still
tick?
using tick. Because Americans don't know what tick means.
Okay.
Tourette's.
Do you want to see what's in my computer? Stop fixating on the word tick, okay? It's changed in here.
Okay.
It all says check.
Okay.
I don't know that
Which-
that copy
okay.
is any different than the one you
What
have.
I've got is, the wording is entirely different. Which community resources do you use? Now that makes sense. I don't have that wording for 21.
Okay.
Okay.
So, which community resources do you use? Check all that
Use.
apply.
Okay.
Council on Aging Enrichment Center, Easthampton Community Center, Easthampton Commission on Disability, Mental Health Services, Department of Developmental Services, Department of Children and Family Services, Mass Commission for the Blind, Mass Rehab Commission, Fuel Assistance, Meals on Wheels, SNAP, PVTA, COA, or other ADA transportation services, Disability Law Center, ServiceNet, Veterans Services, Stavros, Riverside Industries, Hearing Impaired Interpretive Services, Highland Valley Elder Services, Home Health Aides, Housekeeping Services, Alzheimer's Society, or other source, please specify.
That sounds pretty comprehensive.
And until we actually submit it to be put into the survey, we can add anything else that anybody happens to come up with for that. 22, how often would you say you use or attend disability-specific activities or services such as those listed above on average? And that's, more than once a week, more than once a month, several times a year, whatever.
Never.
Do we need?
Let's see, yeah,
Oh.
you can say it, we're thinking the same thing.
Oh, do we need? Would you say? Can we just say how often do you? That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, what I was gonna say
often?
is, we took out we took out activities. We took the activities out of the question. So, it should just be how often do you use, the services listed above? Per month?
Oh, so you're referring to 21 in
Yeah,
22.
22 is referring to 21, and we don't list activities in the question.
Okay, so that has to be more clear, because I didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah, I would say in question 21, so it's clear where.
So change it to, how often do you use or attend disability-specific services?
You don't attend disability services, you use them, right?
Yeah, that's a good
What?
idea.
Is there anything in 21 that can be attended? You would say, how often do you use these services, you know?
All right, so what,
Yeah. That's just a wording thing, it doesn't,
Okay,
it
but
doesn't
what-
really matter.
stop with this for a minute. What wording do you want used, is what I'm trying to get at.
How often do you use the above services per month?
Okay,
On
how
average,
often
how
do
often
you use, so get rid
the
of,
above services per month?
attend?
Yeah,
How often do you,
Yeah, some of them are not attend per se.
yeah.
so how often do you use,
In an average month, how often do you use the above services?
okay,
Well, but then we've got options for every 3 months, 1 to 5 times a
Okay.
year.
Okay, that's true.
So just how often? You know,
In
say
general.
month, Yeah.
Well, if we already know what services people are using, do we need to know how often they actually go in? 'Cause some of the, like you guys were saying, some of these are things where you make visits once a month or whatever,
No,
some
if-
aren't.
if we're, I think it's worth leaving in there.
Okay,
I think it's worth leaving in there for a number of reasons. For one, as the information can be used to help with mass transit. As the
Oh,
information
yes.
can be used by healthcare providers to put some of these services more locally. You know, those kinds of
No, you're
issues.
right. Yeah.
So,
So
I think it's good information to have.
can we, instead of the above services, can we say the services listed in question 21?
Yeah, I agree, Eli. I think it should be that specific.
The services. Okay.
But how does this, how are you going to answer for the ones you do? I mean, you're gonna answer, you use more than one, say. How do you, I'm confused again here, sorry. Maybe because I had this old one. How are you going to associate the times per week, for instance, for several different of the services?
Is there a
What's it
code?
gonna look like?
Is there a way to code in the survey that, you know, so if you checked yes, I use the Council on Aging, is there a way that checking yes would pull up a sub-question that
Yes.
says how often?
Yes, that's what we need.
That would be difficult, but what we could do is make a table.
It might be difficult, I don't know what the survey mechanism
But it might be,
is.
that might be extremely easy for that
Yeah,
You know,
service to do it.
and then we could eliminate.
Because
22.
we're not doing the
Okay.
technology.
I don't have the answer to that question, but considering how many of these questions have drop-down boxes with additional information, for example, just for ha-has, what's your level of education? It has a drop-down menu that includes school. And something that's purely got to do with Cambridge England.
Yeah,
Diploma, HIC, HND, National Vocational Qualifications, apprenticeships, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what we could do is combine the two questions and just say, how often do you use each of these
I like it.
services?
I like it.
And then each
Just
one would have the
a
options
drop-down
including
menu.
never, right, or once a month
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But
that's-
is this a Survey Monkey survey that you've got?
Yeah.
So we know what their capability is?
Right.
Can
That-
they do-
that's all
can
I'm
they do
saying. So I-
drop-downs?
Okay,
Pardon?
Can Survey Monkey do drop downs?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading off of, is the Cambridge Survey Monkey Survey. It won't let me change anything in the drop-down boxes here,
Right.
but they do exist on the original survey.
So we know that they have the capability, so we can put that in ours
Right.
when they,
You know,
whoever does it, puts it in.
From the different, I haven't taken a bunch of them, but I have taken a few different Survey Monkey surveys. And the capabilities that are there for answering the questions just make them very easy to do because of what they can incorporate into, you know, by way of drop-down boxes or multiple choice or, you know, all sorts of things.
Does Survey Monkey charge us by the length
I
of
have
the
no
survey?
idea. I have no idea.
Because I've seen them, but they were just for little,
I haven't got
mostly a choice of meeting times or something.
Yeah, there are some
you know?
well, there's a difference between Survey Monkey and what the hell's the one that does?
Something doodle.
Yeah,
Event-
Doodle.
Oh,
I think it's, I think it's not that, I think there's like for the free version, there's a maximum length, but for the paid version, there isn't. I think that's the
Okay.
only.
Yeah, I'm
No.
just wondering if we're coming up
All
with
right.
$1 million survey here.
It's after 11 o'clock. Is anybody pressed for time? No? Okay.
No.
We're comfortable.
All right, so I will work on getting that whole mess incorporated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Which mess was this?
The mess of 21 and 22.
Okay.
figure out how to put them together. Who, in the end, when we're satisfied with what we have, is going to actually work with Survey Monkey to get it into the system and,
That will be Jamie.
okay. So
And
it's-
me, if she wants me to, or
Okay,
whatever.
so it is the planning department that's going to
Yeah.
help with the technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number 23. How do you feel about accessible events and activities in the city?
Do we need 23?
I had that crossed out. Did we
I,
decide?
that could be why I've got it highlighted in blue. So my question
Seems
was going to be,
redundant.
is this something we want to have? And did I highlight it just because we were considering changing the format or because we thought it should go?
I think it's similar to the one earlier that we were,
It is.
so we probably decided we didn't need it.
That's what I was thinking. So I'm just going to eliminate it now.
Okay.
So 23 is gone.
24 is non-applicable to us, so that should be going to you.
You know, the governor of Massachusetts is supposed to issue a proclamation every October indicating that it's Disability Awareness Month. I don't know if that's associated with any kind of state programs or anything, but
I think we should do for next year our own, ask
I think we should
the
also.
city council
Yeah.
to,
I've
So-
seen on TV and I've seen on Facebook declaring that it's,
I think we should-
whatever month, disability month.
I think we should leave that question in there. It will certainly let us know whether or not anybody else is aware of this stuff too, you know?
I haven't seen any events.
I have a
per se.
feeling very few people, if any, are aware of it. If you answered no above, please check all that apply. And those would be the reasons why people don't participate in any of that stuff. I didn't know of any events, I'm not interested, the events offered were not of interest, with a please explain why below. I don't know about that, but might have been interested, but I was not sure about going. With a please explain why. Too expensive, too far from where I live, didn't have transportation.
We should think in general about the order of, like 24 to 33, you know, we should, like,
Such a huge number.
yeah, we should just think about it. Like 26 is it important to have specific events for disabled people? That would be a good lead into the section. Just the ordering of the questions, because they're, to make it seem less random.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Um,
so I can change the order.
Yeah, just look at the order, we don't have to pick it apart now, but.
Oops. So 25 is going to stay 25, but 26 is going to become 24? Was that your idea?
26 can become 24, and we're keeping the original 24, right?
Keeping that same,
Okay.
same question, okay, we're keeping the original 24, but moving it
Okay.
to number 26.
Okay.
So that 24 will now be,
Right.
is important,
Let's do it.
is it important to
Yeah.
have specific activities?
That-
But also,
That-
26,
It's not
is it
mine.
important
That
to,
means-
Oh, it's
how do
you?
you feel
Yeah,
about the
that
social
means-
circle? I
It
don't
will
know.
end in a
It seems like have you attended would be, all the questions
should.
about what you've attended should come before 25, which is why didn't you attend?
Okay, so then 27 should become 25.
Yeah, sure.
25 should be 26.
Yeah.
And 26 should be 27. Yes? So,
Yeah.
okay, now, so, question 24 is going to be, is it important to have specific activities and events?
Uh-huh.
25 will be, do you take part in Disability History Month activities? 26 will be, if you answered no above, please check all that apply, and that's the one I didn't know of them, too far, all of that.
Yeah.
And then 27, no, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's like, no.
I had it a minute
My
ago.
initial suggestion was later look at that.
24 is important to have events. How do you, 25 is how do you feel about the events that you currently use. 26 would be, do you participate in Disability History Month? If no, why not? And then 26,
27 and 28 on the original seem like the same question.
I thought, I got written down.
Okay,
that we're
let's
getting
finish
rid of
with-
28, 29, and 30.
question number 24 is now, is it important to have specific activities or events for disabled people? 25 will be, how do you feel about social support activities for disabled people? 26 will be, do you take part in Disability History Month activities? 27 will be, if you answered no, check the reasons why. All
Yeah.
set?
Yep,
Okay.
and 31.
Whoa,
also
whoa.
31 also belongs
We just
somewhere in
finished
chapter-
27.
Okay, alright.
I have 28, 29, and 30 redlined, as in, I don't think we need them.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I got.
sure, yeah.
Okay, those are, how do you feel about the social activities for people with disabilities that you currently access?
Yeah.
Do you volunteer or work at any disability-specific service? And do you regularly donate? I don't think that's any of our
Yeah,
business.
that's,
Okay, so those are gone. 31, what might prevent you from taking part in activities and events around the city? That's
very similar.
very similar to
25,
27.
Or the new 27.
So should we get rid of 31, since it's redundant?
If it's asked someplace else, yeah. So it's primarily, do you volunteer, and where,
Get rid of, replace that one with 31. 31 has
Yeah.
better
So-
answers, so.
So replace
Get rid of 27.
replace 27 with 31,
Yeah.
yes?
Yeah, the answer
Okay.
boxes, there's just a couple more answers in 31.
7, and so then we get rid of that. Goodbye.
So 31 will become 27.
Correct.
31, the 27 is the new 31.
Well, that's not much of an improvement. All right, 32, which if any of the following statements apply to you? That's, I have a large network of friends and plenty of opportunities to socialize, all the way down to I feel isolated and would appreciate any opportunities to socialize with other people. And I need help to get out and socialize with other people. I think that provides quite a broad
Yeah.
choice. And 33, if you have any other comments or suggestions for services which would benefit disabled people, please write them down. This is where I propose to put in the open-ended questions that Jeff proposed,
Okay.
because I think they're all good.
Oh, can
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, 'cause-
that's his original, it doesn't have
Yeah.
my questions.
yeah, I think there was
I can call them up.
something that I
I
forgot
forgot what I wrote,
to
but,
comment on.
all right.
here?
And then as far as section 3 goes, I really feel like that entire section is valid as it is.
Section 3?
Yeah,
Disability
it pertains to whether or not you've suffered any discrimination or bullying or any of those sorts of things as a
Dis-
result.
Disableism, I guess that's an English word, huh?
It's what?
What?
Disableism. Okay, I'm sorry. What did you,
Where did you find disableism?
I thought you were at disability discrimination
Yes.
and disableism.
Oh, I got rid of the word disableism from that heading. It's just
You got an old copy.
disability
Right.
discrimination.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see
do.
that.
Okay, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I just had one before, so there was at the beginning of the survey, I wonder, question 7, does your disability cause you to feel any of the following? I wonder if that would be better next to the other opportunities to socialize. And just to move it as is over to like 30, or over before 32. It just seems to go better, but I'll let it die if people are just sick of thinking
Okay,
about it.
so are you thinking of incorporating number 7 into that list?
Or put
Wait.
it before that list, you know.
Wait,
if-
so you're talking 32?
Yeah.
7 and 32, okay, so
Ins-
adding
Adding
7 into 32.
or turning 7 into 31.
I understand.
And, it just seems to go better with that section rather than in the demographics. Because 7 is all, other than that, it's just all
Okay.
and statistical.
All right.
Can you email
I will.
to me, because I have a really old one
Okay.
here and I'm totally,
Right old at top of that survey, because I got like 3 different copies. I go crazy trying to figure out which one's the one we're working with.
Well, I've only got one,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, but when you get another one, right
All right.
on that.
So.
When I get another one, I'll
can I
just ditch
say one more
this.
thing?
Mhm.
So there are some questions that I think could really use like a comment box at the end.
Like which one in
Like say
particular?
16, for example.
16.
How do you feel? People might want to put in more details about that.
Okay.
And 19 and 20.
Nineteen. We don't. Okay, we got rid of 19.
Oh, we did. Okay.
And 20 has.
The information about events. That question.
Okay, wait a minute. Was
Oh no, not that one. We got rid of that one. The
Yeah.
we got
the
rid of?
representation. Yeah, 19.
We got rid of 19.
We did. What's the one about? Okay. What's the one about the information about events?
20 on mine.
Okay.
Okay, so number 20. Do you have difficulty finding information about events? You want a box there?
Yeah, I think there should be a comment box because people might want to give their thoughts about particular
Okay.
situations.
And where else?
There's that and 16.
Okay. And
And I don't think there are any others that I had in mind. Yeah. Yeah, it's just.
All right.
Thank you.
we done?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a question.
What's that?
Any progress on the sidewalks in Easthampton?
Well, yes.
Cottage Street.
But it's not going to be anything that you will be overwhelmed by. But
But I had a
yes,
little difficulty.
they're they are making improvements as they
But I
get
had a little
funding.
difficulty by Dunkin' Donuts and Pride.
Is Union Street on the grant? Is that?
The funding for Union Street is already secured. I
It's-
don't
yeah.
know when they're exactly going
Yeah.
to begin, but I
Yeah.
believe it's next spring.
So, yes, you know how they did up that way from Riverside? They're doing back that way down Union Street.
I
so
have
that's
a
the one
great
thing they're
new
gonna fix.
wheelchair, but the cracks are still a pain in the
Yeah.
butt.
Absolutely. I hear you. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yes.
I move to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Shut off the camera and I can go pee.
I think the camera caught that, Joe.
Probably did, I don't care. It's the red button.
Oh, did you